And we are tracking Tropical Storm Idalia, which slammed into Florida as a Category 4 storm this morning. We have team coverage on where the storm is headed. And that's where we begin tonight at 10. Now a tropical storm, Idalia, is on the way to the Carolinas.
Yeah, it's bringing in heavy rain and strong winds to the areas north of Georgia and Florida, which took the brunt of the storm early this morning. Federal help is on the way to rural areas hit hard by Idalia. President Biden says that he spoke with the governors of all the states expected to be impacted by the hurricane, including Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis. President Biden says he has already taken action to help protect the people of Florida.
Approved an early request for emergency declaration to enable him to have the full support ahead of time to protect the people's lives in the state of Florida.
The president also says more than 1,000 federal personnel were deployed to Florida and other southeast states even before the hurricane hit, and will remain there to help with the recovery efforts. In the meantime, Idalia is still wreaking havoc and drenching South Carolina and Georgia.
Well, Storm Team 2 Chief Meteorologist Brian Davis is joining us now. And Brian, this is tracking across South Carolina toward the Atlantic Ocean. What are we expecting to see overnight?
We need to know what has been hit the worst.
Idalia made landfall just before 8 this morning in Florida's Big Bend region as a powerful Category 3 hurricane. Storm Team 2 meteorologist Cameron Saliga continues our team coverage on the storm with the local humanitarian response.
Welcome to 2 News at 10. Hurricane Idalia making landfall this morning. You see the high tides smashing into the streets in northwest Florida, causing major flooding.
Idalia has now weakened to a tropical storm. And
the governor of Florida spoke earlier today about the response of emergency personnel.
There's going to be more that's done just in the emergency response with our first responders all through today and all through the night. They're going to keep going as long as they're needed.
And a threat still looms as the storm heads toward the coastal areas of the Carolinas. The storm is carrying intense winds. It's causing flooding and the possibility of tornadoes. All
right, let's bring in Storm Team 2 Chief Meteorologist Brian Davis to this conversation as well. Brian, looks like they're in for a long night in that portion of South Carolina, getting close to that Atlantic Ocean coast. All right, thank you, Brian. It's time to start thinking about those student loans again. Interest will start accruing again on federal student loans in just 2 days. Experts say it's important to get organized and to check with your loan services about their policies since many have changed during the pandemic. We spoke with an alum from Howard University who will be paying his student loans for the first time in more than 3 years. He says his biggest priority is being financially prepared with spreadsheets.
Maybe spend this weekend, sit down, look at some Excel sheets, just see what I can spend less on in terms of cost of living and how I can apply more to my the student loans and making sure that as much as the principal is going down.
A new restaurant has opened its doors in the Oregon District. Culture Kitchen features 14 different items on its menu, including nachos, mac and cheese, sandwiches and burgers. The owner and chef of the restaurant said it took a lot of hard work to get to this moment, but it was all worth it.
It's exciting for us to actually own a restaurant and something for us to call home and to do things our way.
The restaurant is now open Tuesday through Saturday from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m.
It has been more than 200 years since the last visible total solar eclipse in Ohio. That dates all the way back to 1806. Now, to put that into perspective, Ohio, just merely 3 years old at the time. But how does a solar eclipse even happen, and what makes a total solar eclipse so rare? Storm Team 2 meteorologist Cameron Saliga is digging deeper into this highly anticipated celestial event.
Emotional scene at Troy High School this morning with faculty, students, and community members gathering to start the day. It comes just days after last Friday's incident at the high school where an active shooter alarm was accidentally set off twice. 2 News reporter Grace Hewitt is asking questions about an act of kindness and the school's plans moving forward.
New at 10, a golden girl reaches a milestone while taking to the skies. Meet this 84-year-old woman who surpassed the 1,000 mark for career skydives this month. Her skydiving journey began way back in 1959 when she forged her parents' signatures so she could make her first jump. She later joined the first U.S. women's parachute team in 1962. She took a 37-year hiatus to raise a family before jumping back into action literally in 2003. But she hopes that her story will inspire others. After all, age is just a number.
I felt like crying. I felt like crying because no one deserves this.
Now at 10, Ohio anti-gun violence groups are calling for change following the school shooting in Nashville, and we're talking to parents about how safe they feel sending their kids to school. That's first at 10. Nashville police today released new body camera video showing officers confronting the suspect during Monday's shooting at a school. 3 children and 3 adults were killed. And a caution here, this video we're getting ready to show may be disturbing to some viewers. Now, this is video released today by the Metro Nashville Police Department. It was captured on body-worn cameras from 2 of the officers who responded to the scene. Now, you can see the officers arriving and getting information from that woman outside the school, then immediately entering the building and beginning to search classrooms one by one and an office on the first floor of the Covenant School before rushing up the stairwell and moving down 2 long hallways toward the sound of loud gunshots. You then in the video would see the officers confronting the shooter. The body camera footage shows the officers firing multiple rounds until the suspect goes down. And after that school shooting that happened at a Christian elementary school in Nashville, parents and community leaders here in Ohio are calling for gun reform. State lawmakers are also responding. 2 News reporter Allison Gens with us here in the studio asking questions about what they say needs to be done. Allison?
John Brooke, I spoke with a mother who lives in Dayton tonight. She says hearing about yet another school shooting strengthens the fears she feels every day she sends her daughter off to school.
A man is behind bars after admitting that he shot and killed a woman in Union Township. This happened around 7:30 Monday night on North Montgomery County Line Road. Miami County Sheriff's deputies went to a home for a welfare check and they saw blood inside. Deputies then forced their way into the house, finding 57-year-old Michelle Elliott dead from an apparent gunshot wound. Authorities say a 58-year-old man turned himself into the Miamisburg police and admitted to the shooting. The suspect is being held on a murder charge. The suspect in a deadly stabbing appeared in Montgomery County Common Pleas Court this morning. Lytus Jordan III pleaded not guilty to several charges, including murder, felonious assault, and tampering with evidence. Prosecutors say Jordan got into an argument with 42-year-old Sean Monroe at a business in Englewood March 12. Surveillance video showed both men go into a restroom, but only Jordan came out. Employees found Monroe dead a short time later, and Jordan is being held on $1 million bond. He's due back in court April 10th. All right, thank you, Brian. In the last several days, self-defense laws have been in the spotlight after shootings in Missouri, New York, and Texas. First, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot after ringing the wrong doorbell in Kansas City. Yarl was trying to pick up his younger brothers, but ended up at the wrong address. The homeowner accused of shooting Yarl says he was scared for his life and thought Yarl was trying to break in. Yarl is back home recovering. Next in New York, 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis died after a homeowner shot her when the car she was in turned into the wrong driveway. And a Central Texas cheerleader is in the hospital after she was shot for accidentally getting in the wrong car. Both Missouri and Texas have stand your ground laws. But what about Ohio? 2 News reporter Seth Bird is digging deeper into Ohio's stand your ground and self-defense laws following those shootings. Seth.
Ohio's the latest version of self-defense law was signed into law in 2021. The big change being a person no longer needed to retreat before the use of lethal force if that person had a lawful right to be there. I spoke with a local legal expert about the state's stand your ground law.
New at 10, a very special birthday celebration tonight for a special boy whose medical journey we've been following. Super Sammy had a heart transplant just over a year ago, and today he's celebrating his 5th birthday.
He wasn't alone. Family, friends, community members, and fans of Super Sammy all celebrated with him at Engage City Church. Kids and adults dressed up in superhero costumes and bounced in bounce houses. Sammy's parents say it was a great way to celebrate the hard life that this young man has lived.
They have been through so much as a family, and just, you know, they've come through the other side, and the community is behind them, the community loves them. So I think just knowing, they've just come through, and they've survived, and they've persevered through everything that they've gone through.
Sammy says the one thing on his birthday list this year is a yellow bicycle. I have a feeling he'll get one.